Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the New Media Show. My name is Todd Cochrane, and of course, I want to welcome my co-host, Mr. Rob Greenlee. Good morning, Rob. How are you?
Doing great, Todd. It's another Saturday as we roll around, and heading into spring and summer. It's kind of an exciting time.
Yeah, it is, and going forward, our schedule's a little crazy because of me, largely. But next week I'm going to be. Matter of fact, as soon as I get done with the show this morning, I finish packing the suitcases because I'm taking 3.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm taking 2 of microphones, stuff that I need to have basically forward placed. So I'm taking a bunch of gear there, and then it starts really the countdown for the studio here being disassembled and put in a container and shipped. So, yeah, crazy.
That is crazy. Yes. How many years have you been operating that out of that room there? I know since podcasting started.
I started at historic Fort Island, and then I moved into this house November of 2007. Mm-hmm. So probably been doing the show here since then. But live, I started live at like 650 episodes. So that was 7 years ago. So that I haven't done video the entire time here, but anyway, long enough. But hey, everybody, welcome to the show. And we will probably, and I got to coordinate this with Rob, but the next 2 Saturdays are just completely boned. So, Rob, you and I will have to work on a alternative date to record the show. And next week, we're going to do one. Actually, Thursday would be the day. If possible.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because Friday I go into lockdown. Saturday I'm in lockdown. And then Sunday I fly out, and then my schedule's crushed, and I actually don't get back here to Sunday the following week. So we can talk about that at the end. But anyway, enough on administrative logistics. So it's been a while, and did you recover from NAB, or is it even possible to recover from NAB?
No, I think you leave there scarred for life. No, it was actually it was a really, really fun event this year. I really enjoyed it. Having that location in Central Hall really made all the difference in the world, it seems like.
And, booth choice. And you got lucky, my friend. Because we all thought we were right. I thought, I got him. And then Robin Libson says, yeah, I got him. And then you end up on a main thoroughfare just by luck, by the positioning.
I know, totally.
Yeah, so winner, chicken dinner for you.
It's the booth wars.
That's right.
We're always battling to try and get the best location for traffic.
And I'm looking at booth picks for Podcast Movement. I just got it this morning, literally 40 minutes ago, and I'm like, damn it, Rob. I'm thinking Rob from Libsyn, and because I'm looking at his position, and I'm like, oh man, and so I don't know what to do. I have an idea, but they got this. Well, I think I can legally show this. They have let's see here, 5, 6. So the main entrances are at the bottom. It says main entrance, secondary entrance. The breakout rooms are on the left. There's breakout rooms on the right. So Rob at Libsyn has already picked 404 and 406, which is these 2 blue dots right above the yellow box on the bottom. So, of course, he's got perfect main entrance. He's really got a good position. Right. And then Triton, they're on the right. So they picked a good spot. And then I'm looking at Simplecast, where they're up a little further. They got a good, be honest with you, I'm not sure where to pick.
I know, it's tough sometimes. It's tough sometimes to try and find the right spot.
Yeah, because you just don't know how the flow, how the flow is going to be. So, so I have to make a pick today or by tomorrow. I think they gave me a deadline by tomorrow, and then I think you get the email.
Yeah, right. Just go eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Just close your eyes and then drop the finger.
No. So do I want to be by the breakout rooms on the right, or do I want to be on the breakout rooms by the left? It's you just never can tell. In one way or the other, you're going to be pissed because something won't be exactly the way it should. So, and be honest with you folks, for those of you that ever do a trade show, it really does matter. Booth selection does matter because, it may be the difference between seeing 500 people and seeing 300 people.
Yeah.
Just by the way that people are walking around. So
it's all about visibility, where the traffic flow is. That's I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
But it also, there's another factor to this too. It's how aggressive you are in your booth too at grabbing people.
Right. And making sure your head's down, not down in your phone. Part of our rule in the booth is I always say I'm checking my phone, and then that's a cue for the other people in the booth to be face up,
right,
and smiling. And then when I'm done, I'll say I'm done, and then someone else has time to look at their phones. Because it's hard for none of us not to look at our phones. But
right.
What does that have to do with podcasting? Well, I'll be honest with you. At NAB, we had to be face up and looking because people are coming by and they look, and oftentimes you'll see kind of them do like a half step, and you'll say, "Can I help you? Are you going to do a podcast?" And they'll stop and they'll talk. Otherwise, they won't. Right. So,
especially if you walk out and engage with them, they'll tend to walk towards you.
Yeah.
So, but if you don't engage with them, they'll just continue walking.
Because they'll say that he's ignoring me.
Right.
Yeah. Do I really want to spend 5 minutes talking to this guy and getting pitched? So.
Right. It's a dance at the beginning, right?
That's right.
You're not quite sure who to approach and who not to, and it's plus also the the after hours activities at this event also made it hard to pay attention in the booth too.
Yeah.
So because we're all so tired and groggy and lost our voices and all that stuff. So
during
the day,
but traffic was good. A variety of people, radio, a lot of creators this year. I was really kind of surprised. The creator count was up. I'd say the radio count was down, but maybe because of our location, TV count was up.
Right. That's kind of always the case, though, Todd. I almost never talk to. It's rare that you talk to radio people.
Yeah.
At NAB, it seems like.
Yeah. And I felt my marketing outreach this year was flat. I just did not feel we got an uptick because I do a very extensive emailing campaign leading up to the show, and it just felt flat to me. And so it's, you win some, you lose some. But now we're going through all those contacts and reaching out and, closing the loop. And that's the next part you have to follow up. But yeah, NAB was good. But you know what was really good? Some dinners we had.
Yeah. It's all the after hours stuff.
Right. So, there's we have this new rule, and it's not rule. James Cridlin came up with it. James Cridlin basically said that when you're amongst competitors and friends, and James is a reporter, he says when there are, more than 2 beers on the table?
That's right. Then everything's off the record.
Yeah, when there's more than 2 beers on the table, everything's off the record. So technically, our dinner that we went to, there was only a glass of wine and a Jack and Coke on the table. Everyone else was drinking water. So I'm like, damn, we needed one less drink on the table. We could have been on the record. No, we went.
Well, James is actually kicking himself a little bit that he didn't hang out with us more.
Oh, he missed some good stuff. But we went to the Robs, literally. Rob Walsh, Rob McCracken, and Rob Greenlee, and one Todd. We all went to Gordon Ramsay. What's the name of that place again?
Hell's Kitchen.
Hell's Kitchen, yeah. Great food.
Right off of the strip.
Yeah, the appetizer was freaking fantastic.
Yeah.
And anyways.
So was the conversation.
Oh my God. If there'd have been a reporter next to us, oh my God. And then edging each, so what do you think about this? And what do you think about that? And who do you think is going to get acquired next? And what do you think about this? And then we start dropping names, looking at people's reactions on the table. It was very, very fun. And sometimes you're just kind of like, there's this awkward pause and you're like, got it. I know who it is, you know.
That's right.
You know, don't worry, Rob. Don't worry. No,
lots of ideas. Dropped, right? And,
lots of ideas. Hey, and I put a whopper on the table right at the end. Yeah, I put a whopper on. So, you know, and it's not collusion. It's just having fun and having dinner with friends and talking smack and
a lot of what ifs.
Yeah, right? A lot of what ifs. What ifs? What
if these two combined, or these three combined, or all of them combined?
Right. All kinds of crazy talk. So yeah, it was fun. It was fun, and then of course the evenings at the bars and around, and you know, Mike and I even got hit up by a couple of girls to take him to a disco, and we were like, no, we're not 30 and stupid. You know, go on your own way. You know, so
disco.
Yeah. What, okay, dating myself. Going to the club, the nightclub. All right. Yeah. Hey, you guys want to go to Caesars with us to the nightclub? I'm thinking, yeah, that'll be a $3,000 night and a divorce. You know, this is no. Go away, little girl. You know.
Right.
So, or young lady, not little girl.
Lots of that going on, that's for sure.
And you know, it didn't see. You know, it was. I stayed at the Flamingo. You guys stayed down where you guys were at the Circus, right?
Yeah. Rob Walsh and I stayed at the.
We gotta get you guys out of there. Come on. We're in purgatory. You've spent 7 years in purgatory. It's time. You know, at least join me.
It was a pretty shaky hotel, I have to say.
At least join me downtown or something. You know, my team doesn't like. Well, some of my team doesn't like to stay downtown, but part of my team does. But we like to hang out with the real people. You know, down at.
In the Fremont area?
Yeah, Fremont Street. Yeah.
Okay, that's a long ways away from everything.
It's just an Uber away. It's good. And Uber was cheaper than Lyft this trip. I see consistently Uber was cheaper. So,
really?
Yeah.
Certainly cheaper than taking a taxi, that's for sure.
Oh, yes, indeed. But sometimes just immediate being able to jump in a cab was sometimes faster, though. They still have advantage in pickup and drop-off areas.
So as far as talking about the actual event itself, the NAB, you know, it's still not what I would call a podcaster event.
No.
Most of the people that come by are usually people that are part of another media organization that maybe are doing a podcast themselves externally from their full-time jobs, and a few radio network. I mean, there's a few radio people that came by, but a lot of TV people that were looking to take their YouTube stuff and maybe repurpose the audio. Just a lot of things like that. But the big thing that was really interesting is how the the equipment manufacturers down there are really making things that are basically more consumer, right? So I think the early days of the NAB, it was around, you know, big cameras and big expensive equipment and things like that. But you know, we were surrounded by, you know, microphone manufacturers and things like that really had some terrific new microphones and new equipment and things like that I thought was really interesting too. And that's unfortunately, I think we're going to get separated from the microphone manufacturers next year when we move to the North Hall.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But you know, with that, I always talk about the success of a show. For me, is how much money I am not going to spend. You know, by walking around and seeing the ooh, you know, seeing the new gadget. And I didn't get to see a lot of the show. I had a couple of appointments, went over and saw a new tech and some folks, and you know, got in and they did a demo for me. And so I figured that show's probably only going to cost me about $1,000, $1,500 in new gadget toys. But other than that, that's a pretty cheap NAB for me. But you know, that's in comparison stuff laying out there. There was hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. So well beyond what any podcaster would ever buy. But and also, I guess we should talk a little bit about our session and the interaction we had with the newcomers to podcasting to our session, which was the Trusted Voices, which was kind of an interesting play.
Right.
How do you think the interaction went with those two groups? I think it went good, but
Yeah, I think it went good too. I mean, it's an interesting contrast, right? Of, unfortunately, there's a little bit of an implied thing that the new voices maybe aren't as trustworthy as the old voices. I don't know. It was a little bit of a weird dichotomy on that.
Yeah.
But I thought that I mean, let me back up and just say, I mean, certainly there wasn't as many people in the room as we were hoping for.
But there was like a 120 maybe?
Yeah, right. So, and that seems to be a little bit of the trend line that's going on at that event. It's just not a podcaster event. I would love that there would be more podcasters at the NAB, and who knows, maybe, I don't know what changes the NAB could make to make it more attractive to podcasters to go to that, Todd. But I did think that the interaction and the discussion, actually, I recorded our session, Todd. So I actually have that in an audio file.
How did it turn out?
It's okay. It's not terrific. It's not like, each one of us had a microphone attached to us, so it was a little bit of an echoey recording, but it's something that we could share.
Oh, maybe we'll put that out in lieu of a show 2 weeks from now. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Well, I think that the conversation we had, you and I and Rob have been on the stage together so much, we can almost speak for each other, yeah. in a little different tone,
right.
And I think that, believe it or not, I think Rob Walsh was more snarky than me. So, and of course, you're always the reserved one, per se.
Oh, really? Well, I'm gonna have to change my perception at some point here. This is, yeah. I got to keep up with you guys.
Well, okay, please don't. You might get fired. So I think overall, I think that as people raised hands and we asked how many podcasters were in the group, and I think it was about 40, 60 maybe, and right. So I was pleased with the with the mix of people in the room, and the questions that were asked were good. So we had plenty of time. We had 40 minutes. We did well with our time.
Yeah. Well, and I think our moderator Pam did a good job, but she also knew when to kind of just back off and let the room kind of, or let us kind of
go
take over.
Yeah.
So, because it is one of those things, Todd, like you say, all three of us can finish each other's sentences usually.
Right. And I don't know if that's a good thing at this point, but yeah.
I don't know either. I mean, but it certainly seems like when we talk about topics relating to the podcasting space, we can raise one topic, and then when it goes to the next person,
right,
it basically is an extension of that. Because I'm not going to cover everything, and each of us kind of has a unique view on the space.
Right, unique spin.
Definitely.
But overall, I think the flow went good, and for those of you that haven't, if you're not going to Podcast Movement, you need to go. If you don't have a ticket, this is, you get 3 days of this, of great panels and sessions and information. And so if you're not signed up to go, obviously NAB is a very expensive event because the hotel rates are crazy and transportation in Vegas in general is not cheap anymore. But if you can, as an alternative, go down to Orlando to Podcast Movement, that is an event that you need to go to. It's, shaping up as sounding like, what are we hearing? Like almost 3,000.
Yeah.
So that's huge. Yeah. And it's going to be an exciting, and I'm going to be in Orlando the whole week just because of I'm already starting to, let's meet, let's talk. Are you coming in early,
right.
And all that. So it's a good event. But, going back to NAB, I felt we got our money's worth. Well, we already signed up for next year, and I'm worried about being in North Hall, especially where they stuck us.
Right.
We'll see.
It's not going to be as good. It's not going to be as good as this year, I don't think.
And what's happening is that they're getting ready to open LVC. Well, in 2021, they're going to open LVVC West,
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you that know Las Vegas Convention Center, if you remember the Old North Gold Lot that basically ran almost all the way back to Las Vegas Boulevard, that is all going to be a 2-story convention center. And what they're doing is they're going to remodel one of the halls. It's going to be closed for remodeling. And I don't understand how you remodel that anyway, but long story short, they have to shift people around for a couple of years, and we're going to North as part of that shift. We think Grass Valley is going on top of where we were actually at this year. So anyway, most folks have no idea who Grass Valley is, but otherwise, and plus a lot of the stuff in the podcasting space is just, it's every day. There's something new, some announcement, some deal, someone getting sued. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's almost like, there's a whole new thing going on. I mean, ever since the Spotify acquisition that came out, it just feels like everybody's a lot more serious about the space now. There's big money involved now, and it's kind of, it's a little bit changing the feel of the medium right now. I don't know, Todd, are you feeling it too?
Well,
I'm definitely feeling it.
It brings up a subtopic, and I have to be careful here not to reveal.
What?
I get how should I say it? I know of some events going on. I'll just say that, events going on where there is absolutely no indie media representation that surrounds the podcasting space. You have the big companies like iHeart, Pandora. They are driving the conversation at some of these events. And to me, well, first of all, didn't even know.
So when you say events, what do you?
Well, I'll just say this: I didn't even know the events were happening. I can't be more clear. I can't be more distinct, or I'm going to reveal something I'm not supposed to. So
no, but when you say events, are you talking about like meetings? Or
sure,
are you talking
a group of people. Let's say we're 100 people come together. Okay.
Gotcha.
And there's not any indie or it's all the big Fortune 500s. It's all those big groups that they're driving the narrative. And I tasked one of my guys. I said, "This is we need to be involved." Any way that we can, stick our foot in the door and at least try to get not maybe a seat at the table, but a ticket to get in, so that at least we can add some narrative from the indie side. I got asked, you guys are going to love this. I got asked by the Not Nick Qua. Actually, I've been having a direct message back and forth with the at Nick Qua, not Nick Qua. And the question of me was asked, what is your biggest issue in the podcasting space? And I thought, wow, this is an interesting question coming from someone that is being very, has quite a bit of satire and a bit of a comedian and holding no prisoners and having fun with a Twitter feed. And I thought, so I have a suspicion where this person's coming. Oh, actually, it's 2 people. That's the hint too. It's 2 people. I think it's a man and a woman, and they will be at Podcast Movement. So I think we're gonna have to start a contest. Spot the spot. It's like in HackerCon or whatever it is, where you like spot the spook and then basically spot the CIA guy or spot the FBI guy. That's the contest they have at those hacker events. Well, I think
spot the non Nick Qua guy.
Yeah, run a contest and absolutely, and have everyone looking at people's laptops and tablets to see if we can see someone posting and out. I don't want to out them, but have a little fun. So I'm willing to put $100 on the table. Just to start the contest a little bit. But anyway, So
sounds like another fake Steve Jobs deal.
Right. But anyway,
yeah.
the question that was asked, I didn't expect this question to be asked, and I basically responded in what I just told you. Is I'm worried that there is a shaping going on in the space right now that we don't have a lot of control of. And I'm not talking about control. Maybe control is the wrong word. We don't have input into. And so it'll be interesting to watch what happens here and where dollars start shaking out or shaking into or shaking out of. So,
well, the bigger question is, these entities can do all this all they want, but at the end of the day, the indie side is the biggest side of the industry.
Yep.
And they're going to be playing in their sandbox, but they're not going to have a wide-ranging impact just based on the numbers, right? They can,
right.
I mean, if they want to have some significant changes in the medium, they're going to have to get all sides of the industry on board. Else, it's just not going to work.
We know that. Shh.
I know. Don't say anything about that.
But the question and let me read what I wrote to the not Nick. I said, I'm in the wrong browser. Hang on. Oh no, I'm in the right one. Crap. Messages. There we go. I said representation of the smaller shows with groups, with agencies. Representation of the smaller shows with agencies. 95% of the podcast space remains unmonetized until agencies figure out that 90% of the remaining podcast ad inventory remains in shows that have audiences from 1K to 10,000 listeners per episode. We will not to get 1 billion annually. So basically, I'm basically saying that shows are not being represented, smaller shows. And, maybe, again, it goes back to advertising, but I don't want to get into advertising conversation today, but there is no representation, big representation of podcasters, indie podcasters at these types of events, of agency events.
Right. Right. I mean, it's a numbers situation, right? It's these entities don't know, how to scale this, right?
Right.
And it's easier to just fall into the historical pattern of working with, trying to create some exclusivity, creating scarcity, creating smaller numbers are easier to handle. They're perceived as more cost effective, cost efficient, or however you want to call it. And that's why these things tend to happen this way. It's like the new platforms that have launched in the past. If you look back at the history of it, whether it be Spotify or Pandora or the early days of the medium, the pattern that you saw was these big media companies gravitating towards just the big shows because it's easier to work with big shows.
Yeah.
Right. It's the 80-20 rule, right? They can get to 80% with 20% of the contacts or the relationships, right?
Actually, they're getting to 5% with 5% of the shows.
Right. Now, it's a different proportion. You're right, but the thinking is an 80-20 rule, right? They think that they're going to get to 80 by working with just the 20% of shows, but the numbers are much lower in reality in this medium. But but that's the thinking that we've had going on, and it continues today. And also, you look at what's happening like with RAD and some of these new initiatives that are being driven based on, the need for data for advertising, right? And it does tend to play towards the larger shows. And like you've been saying, Todd, for years, and I have as well, is that this is a niche medium. This is not a mass medium.
No, I think it's a niche mainstream medium is what we're at now.
Yeah, exactly. Mainstream is accurate, but I think what many would like is only work with shows that are getting 2 or 3 million downloads, right?
Right.
that's what all these bigger media companies would prefer, right? Is to create, a smaller number of shows that have huge audiences. But the reality is that's not the reality of this medium.
That's right.
And it's probably, who knows? We may have a show that can get 10 million per episode or something like that at some point in the future. I don't know that that we're going to get there anytime soon. I think we still have to reach probably another 25% of the global population before that's even possible. I don't know. So
anyway, I think that, so we're kind of digressed here, but I guess my concern is, and actually what it did was I was like, I didn't even know about this. I didn't even know that the type of event I'm referring to was even happening. I didn't even know. I was just like, I was kind of dumbfounded a little bit. And so, I'm going to be spending more time in New York. I just have to beat the doors down and start, asserting a little more. It's just, it's just the only way.
Are these events more focused on kind of the advertising side, or are they?
Yeah.
Which is probably not necessarily a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing.
There's but some coming together that we need to do on the advertising side. I mean, I don't know, Todd, you probably saw that I started a Facebook group called Better Podcast Ads.
Sure.
And it really gets back to trying to address that burning issue, right, of this merger between programmatic, dynamic, and ad creative.
Mm-hmm.
And it does feel like we need to merge this stuff together, because it feels like it's just kind of a mess right now, of these technologies being blamed for the whole dynamic ad insertion thing kind of being demonized a little bit because of the type of ads that are going into it, right?
And rightly so.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm just saying that we need to get on top of that. That needs to be improved. It needs to be changed. That reality needs to be improved, and that's the reason for that Facebook group. It was just an attempt to kind of bring people together to think about this topic and to start coming up with actionable recommendations and getting people involved in trying to come up with better solutions. I mean, if we can come up with better ad creative, then the technology issue goes away here.
Right.
So, but as long as we're playing with radio ads and podcasting, we're going to have this demonization of the technology versus the real issue, which is great. Yeah.
And speaking of rad, there was some rad news, and there was no news. That was the thing. That is, no new progression. So
right. And that's not surprising, I don't think.
No, not at all. Based on what we've heard from clients, they have client apps. They have no desire, but that's for NPR to work on. So I think then kind of just to summarize Vegas, it was good, and it just shows the space is alive and well, and lots of people had interest. And
I had a lot of fun down there.
Me too.
It was great getting together with everybody, and I'm sure many probably saw that group photograph that we took of each other, when we all went out for dinner one night.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we went to the buffet at the Aria. And it was decent. It was good. We got to next time. We got to switch up though. We need to go. The best buffet in Vegas, I think, is. I'm being stupid now. I'm gonna brought it up.
That was at the Cosmo.
Cosmo, yeah.
Cosmo, yeah.
And I've ate it that once. And you guys looked it up online. It wasn't that much more expensive. So, and I must have went there on Mother's Day or something. It was like $80, but you folks said it was like $50 when you looked it online. So I heard Cosmo's the best. Someone I'm sure is going to tell us otherwise. But I guarantee you that the best buffet in Vegas is not at the Flamingo.
Or at the Circus.
No. No, not at all. But I did kind of make a mistake this year. I don't know why. I guess I'm used to CES and the way things wrap up. I definitely stayed in Vegas one day too many. I kind of felt like a lost soul the last day. And because I flew it on Sunday instead of Saturday, and you left Friday, right?
Yeah.
So I was kind of like wandering around by myself and frankly kind of bored. I didn't gamble. Well, I did gamble, and the machine just went, sucked the 20 in, and it was gone. And I was like, I think we'll just keep the 20s in my pocket.
Yeah. They tend to do that down there, don't they?
Oh, it was bad. I usually can play a poker machine for a little while, but it just went, it was gone.
Yeah.
And the guy been next to me was cussing in the machine too. And I said, well, I'll pay my $6 for my drink and instead of getting a free drink and costing 20. So
Todd, where's your next podcasting event that you're going to be at?
I think.
Do you know offhand?
I don't. Podcast movement. I don't know. We'll see. Where are you headed?
I'm going to be speaking at the Outliers Podcast Festival down in Austin.
Yeah.
So it's on the 17th through the 18th down in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, we're doing one of those. I don't know where. I don't know who. It's either me or Mackenzie are going to go to one of those two events or someplace. Yeah.
I think there's one in maybe Denver and one in LA.
Yeah.
I think.
So
something like that.
Yeah, we'll be speaking at one of the Outlier events as well. And just need to get the dates locked down. But it seems like a good event to be able to go in and what is your topic going to be on?
I don't know. I'm still working that out. Actually, I made some recommendations to, some ideas to the organizers on that, and we'll see what they come back with. So I know it's going to be something around, what's happening, what's next, where the industry's heading, is big money changing the industry, things like that.
Right. Well, I think it'll be a good one to attend. Let's hear what else. Just a lot of news in space. Of course, now we've got podcasts that are crashing car radios, and I don't know if you heard about that. So a couple of bugs and a couple of car apps that were causing car radios to actually crash.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then Wondery did a music deal with Universal Music, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, this is the holy grail! It's good music for podcasts." No.
Well, there is probably going to be a better situation for music soon in the future.
Yes,
right?
Yes. Did you get briefed on any of that?
I've heard a little bit about it.
Yeah. So there's exciting stuff coming if the lawyers will ever let the paperwork go through.
Right.
And it's not, and I'm not doing the deal. Someone else is.
It's probably likely going to be not full track, but it'll be samples.
But it'll at least be something pretty big. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. It's progress, which we haven't had in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I was puzzled. I saw something in a post the other day. I don't know where it was. Rob Walsh says they're not tracking the Apple Watch in their stats.
Right.
Why?
Because the thought is that it's duplicative data.
So he thinks that they see it on the iPhone, they see it on the Apple Watch, and it's a 2 instead of a 1?
Correct. Well, it's really one request. It's where you're listening to it is where it, and so counting it as a separate play is probably, or a separate download is probably not accurate.
Yeah, because I asked Angelo about it. He says, it's complicated. I'll have to tell you about it. So he knew, but what I was referring to, because I asked, why aren't they counting Apple Watch? And basically, Angelo said it's complicated. I'll tell you about it. So I haven't got the lowdown on. I
mean, you can download stuff directly to the watch. And bypass your iPhone, but I think it's being counted in both places because there's a connection between the two devices.
Right.
And I think your download is also available on your iPhone as well. So, I think it's viewed as a duplicative request. I think we need to track it so we know that the behavior is shifting that way, which it appears that it is. I mean, it makes sense, right? It's more convenient.
But as long as we don't double count it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it gets complicated, is that I think how Apple architected it, it potentially is getting counted potentially twice.
Yeah, and I was, when it first came on and I was noticing the meteoric rise of Apple Watch, I basically sent a message over and says, is this double? And I think that sent Angelo into a, 1 week deep dive spiral into testing to figure out what was going on. So he knows, I just don't. He didn't probably, now I need to get in the weeds and figure it out. But I know he's dealt with it.
Yeah, I did see, I think some numbers, I can't remember where it came from, but I think I saw some numbers talking about how the consumption of podcasting with those that have it on their watch is slightly different too. The where people are consuming it, how people are consuming it is slightly different than those that get it on their iPhone. Right. So, which makes sense too, because it's a lot more convenient, right? It's right there. Especially if you have the earpods or whatever they're called. Yeah. The AirPods that, podcasts are always right at available to you at all times. It's not as difficult with that, so as you look to the future, I think that model and that example of consumption is just so seamless and easy that I think it's going to really take off.
Well, I have to congratulate the ladies. You all did it.
Oh, yes. Right.
Yeah. So Elsie and Jessica, they were able to get funded. They raised $50,000 for the She Podcast Conference. So
was it She Podcast Live is what it's called.
She Podcast Live. So that's just incredible that they were able to do that and hit the 50K mark by the close. Right. Jessica was a wreck. She said, we're sitting there watching the counter. I wanted to go over 50. And
yeah, I think they've almost doubled. Oh, yeah, that's right. They doubled their goal.
They doubled the goal. Yeah. So good for them. And so that event will happen. And I think, I hope they know what they've got themselves into. Conferences are a beast. I've been contemplating with this new studio build and having the studio location in Columbus. I've been thinking about restarting my boot camp series and not traveling and making people come to me. And the reception so far has been pretty good. I've gotten a lot of positive response on it. But then I start to thinking about going through literally about 500 pages of content and knowing I have to update that entire deck. And I'm like, and just that almost gives me a migraine to think about it. But definitely that's on my radar. So we'll see if I am able to make time to get that deck updated. But
so would you have your boot camp in Hawaii, or are you going to have it in Columbus?
Columbus or in Michigan. Columbus. Yeah, one of the two. Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and if people want to come to Hawaii, I guess I could come back and have it here, but it's just too far to travel, too expensive. Most people can't do it.
Well, and you've got a nice office in Columbus that you guys could use now for that.
Yeah, and we've actually got an auditorium as well that we can use. So as part of the complex we're in.
Oh.
And so it might work out as well. So we'll see. I just have to go. I haven't been in the auditorium in the office in Columbus, so that's on my hunting grounds when I'm there next week.
Speaking of private events, right?
Yeah. But I'm going to be working on the studio next week in Columbus, so I'm doing a little mechanical work. So that going to get.
So you're going to have multiple studios, from what I gather you were saying.
Yeah, there'll be a studio in Columbus and a studio in Michigan, so 2 studios, and then see, Mike is about 3 hours from me. Mike Dell is. Mm-hmm. So, but he's like 6 hours from Columbus. So, if I get the studio set up in Michigan, then Mike can just, he can bop down and spend 2 or 3 days, and we can knock a whole bunch of stuff out in the studio, doing green screen stuff and training videos. So I'm really excited about that portion of the move here. From a productivity standpoint, being able to and have the space to spread out, and I've been stuck in a 10 by 12 room for 10 years, 12 years. So it's time to breathe.
Right. That would be great.
Yeah. So time will tell.
Well, you can have a more creative background to your your videos and stuff if you're going to get in front of a green screen.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely going to have absolutely one full-time green screen studio, and so it'll be fun. Lots of stuff you can do there, and not that I have any TriCasters that can take advantage of that either, or Wirecast or any of those other applications.
Right. Are you going to shift to more of a lavalier thing, or are you still going to do?
Yeah, we can. You don't have to.
Big mics.
For this show, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do. I like sitting down and being able to look at mission control here, but the whole set's gonna change. We'll see.
Yeah.
And probably best to change everything up completely, but maybe go to a standing show. I don't know. I don't know if I can do that.
Standing show, that'd be a long time to stand 90 minutes.
Yeah, and then shifting back and forth and moving around, and there's a whole discipline in that.
Right. Kind of like working a booth.
Exactly. Last thing I knew would need is have my feet hurt after a podcast.
That's right. But you bring in that thick carpet, and it definitely makes a difference, right?
Yeah. But there is also some movement on the Pandora side, so it looks like there's some positive movement there.
Oh, okay, yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, so I can't go through the details, but it's positive. So as compared to it's baby steps with them, I think.
Well, there's some big new platforms coming for distribution on the distribution side. So I don't know. It's still up in the air how big the impact is going to be.
Right.
There's some new big ones coming.
So what do you think about Google Podcast, or actually what Apple Podcast did in the change of the way they're displaying shows now on interweb searches or on web searches?
Yeah, you can actually play the audio now off a show page, which I thought that was I was kind of hoping that Apple would have pulled the trigger on that a few years ago, but I'm happy to see it.
But I'm concerned though that there's no link. I'm big on my brand, and they removed the link back to the homepage.
Oh, yeah.
So that's my, that's kind of my unhappy area.
Yeah. Well, that and what Google Podcast is doing too is still they're missing that link, and I think we talked about it, which is having that link to the Google Podcasts area on the web show up in search results.
Right.
That's not showing up anywhere. I mean, you can't even find it.
But there's also below my show listing now on the web, there's discovery of other shows.
Right. And related shows. Right.
Mm-hmm. But one thing I noticed here is an advantage is that if you are a network partner, your network partner page is part of that group. If you're not, you're not. So the value
they were going to depreciate network pages.
Well,
but I guess they're not.
Right here, the network page is listed.
I know.
So now I'm beginning to wonder, based on this change that they have made, whether or not the that's going to be a bigger value. So this is, and you can go to a specific episode, and this is what the episode. Oh, actually, right? Does that say episode website? Oh, there is a link. Oh, whoa! There's a change here. There is a link back to the main episode page.
Okay.
Oh, that's good.
Okay. So it's that's an episode page then.
Okay. Better. This is better. This
Right.
is Google goodness here.
Right. Well, this is what Google should be doing as well.
Right.
They're not quite there yet, but
herein lays the problem for some of you that are podcasting on lockdown platforms. This episode website in many instances is going to lead back to your hosting provider, and if not your .com, especially if they control your RSS feed. So,
right.
There's no link to the page here. Let me go more. No, you can play there. And I have a 4.2 iTunes rating. I haven't asked anyone to do a rating in years, so maybe now I need to start asking again. But
Yeah, I don't see any HTML in the description stuff either. So
no, and here's why. I'm going to be straight on why they have to strip that.
Yeah, but there's dangers in that.
There's huge dangers, and we have to strip it too, because all it takes is one knucklehead to link to something that puts us in the penalty box.
Right.
Because Google index our pages. Oh, you're linking to a malware site.
Right.
Or some hacked web page, and boom, you end up in the, what does this button do? Oh, isn't that interesting? You can copy the link. You can, what does the Twitter share look like? Let me open this up.
Why don't you pull it up on the screen?
So it does. Oh yeah, sorry. Duh. You probably can't see it because I've got it. I just have, so there is the ability here to do Twitter and Facebook sharing.
Yeah.
And copy the link. So, okay. Well, yeah, so maybe Google will wake up here after this.
Yeah, because, Apple's pulling up their pages in search results. You would think Google would have an advantage there, right?
Right. So let me show you how this looks. So in the search results, I've got my website, Tech Podcast, and then Apple Podcast. So it's third on the list, and my show rating is shown in the search results.
Yeah.
Interesting. And then Stitcher. And then
no Google.
No Google. Well, if Google had a link up here in the top of the page, it said audio.
Right.
Yeah.
Or it could be podcasts.
But Google's job is to drive people to me, not to them.
Yeah.
So, I don't want people necessarily going to Google to find my show. But, but if it's an option, I guess.
But if you think about it from the standpoint of trying to get those listeners to listen using the Google Podcast app,
right?
I think you would want to drive some of your audience over there anyway.
Yeah.
It's an Android play, right?
Yeah. So what does this mean? Is this the announcing the end? Oh, Rob, you know what we've got? We're sucking, dude. That's the video. Let me see if I can find the audio version. We've only got a rank of 3. Oh, wow. No one loves
3
us.
On what?
On Apple iTunes.
Oh, you mean show rank? Is that what
yeah, no, someone's given us 3 stars.
Oh, wow. Uh-oh.
All right, everyone. Please go and review the show on iTunes. I can't believe I even said that. I never asked for people for reviews. We must have had some trolls over there. Huh?
That's probably why we're a 3, right?
That's right. And of course, it's saying resolving host. Why is my oh my God, the site can't, there it goes. Okay, so on our audio version, we are a 4-star, but we only have 5 ratings. We've got 5 whopping reviews.
Well, let's admit it. The video is not the most engaging. Right?
No, but so let me see what it looks like. Now let's look and see who associated shows. Oh, top podcast in podcasting. Exponent, 107 Degrees. That's what E said. Video Grunt.
What?
I've never heard of any of these shows.
Yeah.
These are the top podcast in these are the top podcasts in podcasting.
Lots of people put a category podcast.
Oh.
But it's not a show about
that's
just people select that podcast because it's a podcast, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, right.
So we've got
there's a couple in there that are podcasts about podcasting.
Yeah. Just 1 or 2.
Right.
and a couple of them that are pod faded already too. So that's
a bunch of them that aren't there.
Hey, look at this Equine Veterinary Journal. It's got great, absolutely square album art.
Wow. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, they've done a good job there. They're following the standards. And one that isn't a top show in podcasting that doesn't have album art. Yeah, the World Almanac podcast.
Well, I thought it was interesting though, Todd, if you go back and you look at that artwork, is that Apple is supporting an off-sized image.
Yeah.
Right.
But even more funny is this hasn't produced an episode since November 22nd of 2007. So this is really relevant.
Right.
Well, let's look at this one. Exponent. When was the last episode of this? April. Okay. How many more pod faded? 107 degrees. April. So these are all relatively new shows. That's what E said. April. Okay.
So Apple still has an issue, right?
2006, Rob. 5 episodes, Video Grunt. Does it even play? Let's it's video too. Oh, so it won't even play on here.
Well, Todd, it gets back to the thing that we've been talking about is Apple probably needs to create kind of like a split in the catalog between archive shows and active shows probably.
Now let's look at this. There's the World Almanac podcast. It was the Origins Thanksgiving put out on November 22nd, 2007. Does it play? No, it doesn't play. It's dead. So there's not even a media link on that. So
this thing should be taken down.
Here's the problem.
Right.
So, here's what you all need to do. I'm talking to the audience. Start taking looks at these categories and looking at this stuff and screenshotting this and then putting that in front of Apple Podcasts in their Twitter stream. Shame them. Right. Please, shame them.
Yeah.
Because they won't listen to us. We've asked and asked. Start shaming them online.
Yeah. Well,
do it
I'll
nicely.
let them know that these things exist, and
say
they need to take some action on them.
Why are you listing shows that are dead? DEAD, dead.
Completely dead.
Completely dead.
I mean, I'll bet you if you went in and you looked at the RSS feed and you pulled up the RSS feed would be dead too.
Well, so let's see here. I might have
that. They're caching all of the series level metadata.
Yeah. I may have the ability to do that. Let me look here and see if I can. All right. Search that. Oh, yes, I found that. The original feed for that show. Let's see here. More info. RSS feed. Oh, it's over on FeedBurner. It'll be alive.
Think so?
Yep, it's alive on FeedBurner.
Oh, but when you click any of the media links, it doesn't do anything.
It's dead. Right? Yeah. Oh, it was on Podbean before. This Venus.podbean page could not be found.
Oh. So that's an episode link?
That's a play link.
That's a play link. Okay.
Yeah. So, this is another reason of stupidity for using FeedBurner, but
wow. Yeah. Yeah.
So therein lies this issue.
Well, that gets back to what we've been saying for a long time. There's well over 700,000 podcasts,
right?
Apple podcasts, but
right.
What percentage of them are active, and what percentage of them are dead, completely dead, like that one is?
I was talking to a reporter the other day, and I told her, I said, yeah. She said, oh, isn't it wonderful that we're we have this many podcasts? And I said, well, the number right now is 627,500. And no, excuse me. No, it's wrong number. It's let me clear this, reset, filter. It's 704,382. Excuse me. So, and I said, but there are about 150,000 of those that are active. She said, oh, you mean there's only 150,000 that are dead? I'm like, no.
It's the other way around.
It's the other way around. And she said, what?
Yeah, right.
What?
About 500,000 of them are not active, right?
Right. Yeah. And if we could, she said, what's the definition of an active show? I said, well, it depends on who you talk to.
Right.
And I said, some people think it's if they post a new episode in a year. And Some people say 90 days. I said, we kind of look at 30, 90 and a year to get some numbers. And we're talking about that. And then she said, well, what about all those shows that are, historical and, that are, archived and are good for long tail listening? I said, well, that's, maybe 2 or 3%, that are still out there that are, viable.
Yeah, and then, I mean, all you have to do is verify there's an active RSS feed and the media links work, right?
Yeah.
That's your baseline requirement to be in the archive, I would think. And then anything else that has either a dead RSS feed or a dead media file links,
but what
should probably take down.
What would Apple do if they had to make an announcement that there were only 184,000 active podcasts, 184,000 active shows? They cannot make that announcement. They cannot.
Right.
From a stock standpoint, they can't. I can make that comment, but they can't.
I know, and we do on a regular basis. So there's not going to be if you're listening to us, you're hearing the reality of what's happening. So it's not necessarily a problem. It's
life. We've been in this. There's people that started in 2004. Some of them are dead.
I mean, I've got a show up there from 2005 and 6 that's still active, still has active episodes in it, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that these shows that are completely really dead, that are cluttering up or they don't have cover art images. Right. It just makes the medium look like the amateur hour. I mean, I hate to use that term, but I know that's a tough term to describe it, but it's true. It's something that I battled when I was working on Zune. Lots of shows just didn't know how to fill out their RSS feeds, and they maybe had some good audio content, but the presentation of the program wasn't very good. So
start shaming. Come on, folks. Come on. You don't do nicely. You don't have to be completely mean, but say, come on, Apple. Let's go. What are you doing? That's all you have to say.
It's probably time, Todd. What do you think to be a little more proactive about this kind of stuff?
I think we have to.
Right.
And
15 years.
And we have to do it in social media where it's very public. And I have this favorite tool. It's really lovely. Let me show you all a little tool here. All right, so can I change this? Hang on, I gotta make a change. For those of you watching, let me go File. Let me go Desktop. All right, so now you guys can see my whole desktop.
No, pull the image back.
I'm going to.
Okay.
I cover the stream. All right, let me look over here and make sure we're still running. Okay, keep an eye on this. Facebook's not coming back. Everything else did. Okay, hang on. I don't know what's going to happen if I shut that off. Okay, so I think we're back up on YouTube. We're back up on All right. Well, we're back. For those of you that are listening, we crashed. We crashed and burned big time. I don't know what happened here. So I guess I won't try to do the demo. So what I was trying to show Rob was that all you got to do is just use your favorite screen capture program.
Oh, that's what you did. Okay.
Yeah, but I wasn't doing it on the TriCaster. But as soon as I went to full screen on the TriCaster, it choked, and I think I know why. But you know, when you go, you know, and then draw big red arrows. Draw big red arrows on the images pointing at stuff, and
Right.
and then when you post it on social, it lays out like a 3-year-old exactly what you're talking about, and
Right.
you know, put like an arrow to the play button, dead. Put an arrow towards the album art, no album art.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You know, and then just make it look like, you know, like an English teacher with a red pen on the paper.
Yeah, and then have some text right over the top of it in big bold letters. Dead.
Yeah, dead. And when you do that, that is, you know, that's a gentle way of sending a message to Apple Podcast.
Agreed.
So anyway,
Subtle is what I would call it.
Subtle. Yes. And because you know, they're a company about design, beauty, right?
Right.
About user functions and
That's right.
User experience,
Quality, you know, terrific content.
Attention,
Right.
Apple. Attention, Apple. Apple, attention. Your web and iTunes interface is shut.
You know, come on, just give me a break. Yeah, it's
Right. Yeah. It's like, well, I agree. It probably would work if you know, maybe even 100 podcasters did it. all
right.
at once.
100. If every podcaster that listens to the show goes, just, oh my God, can you imagine about 1,000 tweets within the first 24 hours of the show being on the street? That would,
Right.
we'd probably get called to the office. We'd get a call. Can we set up a meeting with you and Rob?
Right.
And
That's right.
we'd probably
We need
get,
to talk. We need to talk.
yeah, we need to have a talk. And can you carve out 30 minutes for us? And we would probably take to the woodshed.
So what podcasts do you do that you have on Apple? Okay. Those are now off of the site.
Those are gone. Those are gone.
Right. No, those guys aren't that bad. I'm just
No, we're teasing, but
we're totally joking around here.
we're of course holding our breath a little bit here at the same time, right? But
Yeah.
you know, if they're gonna get rid of iTunes, which kind of appears might be the case, I think
Right.
it's coming. I think WWDC. I think there's gonna be some shock and awe. I think iTunes is going to be gone. I think they're going to be trying to invade the Android space. You know, to grow the bottom line, they have got to increase revenue. And where's the next frontier? These cool users called Android users. So
Todd, do you think the next big wave, and not to take us down this advertising route, is these big platforms trying to get in the middle of the ad revenue business with all these shows? Just as a general topic. I'm not being specific.
So meaning Spotify putting ads in between content? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and wanting to get ad deals with all these podcasters for any ads that run on their platform. You know, whatever platform I'm talking about.
Yeah, so if Spotify wants to do, or any platform wants to do some rev share,
right,
great, but at what cost?
Right. So ads could be purchased on your podcast.
Mm-hmm.
It would only be available on Spotify. Ads could be purchased on your podcast. Would only be available on some other platform. iHeart or Pandora, whoever you want to talk about.
Okay.
Is that where the future of this is heading towards?
It'll be micropayments.
Right. So you're going to get a revenue share check from this platform, a revenue share check from that platform, versus how it's currently being done on many of the platforms where all the ads are inserted by the host platform. Right?
Do I have to take the ads out of do I have to take my other ads out to get rev share on these platforms?
That's the big question, right? Is
okay, so
how many pre-rolls can you have in your podcast before it becomes annoying? So you have one that you put in there and you have one that the platform puts in there. So that's two.
So
right?
let me give you the easy response to this. If I'm got an advertiser that is paying pre-roll, mid-roll, post-roll, I don't care. Let's just use any ad in my show, no matter where it's at for placement, and they're paying me $25 CPM for that, and I'm getting 5,000 listens over on platform A. And if platform A says, hey there, Mr. Podcaster, our 5,000 listens on your show, we want to place our advertising on that. And you have to remove your advertising to do that. But we're going to give you 6.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going to work.
Right.
It's not going to work.
So is it all just a CPM issue, right?
Oh, I'm sure.
Total dollars paid, irregardless of the size of the show. That's not a factor that I'm talking about here. I'm talking about CPM rates.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
if it's just a couple bucks, then it's not worth it. But if it's more, it might be worth it.
Or the only way you can be on our platform is if you take our advertising, and your $125 you would have made with your current advertiser is now $30.
Right. Yeah.
Huh. What do you think about that, audience?
Right. Well. Yeah.
And let's say you're forced to do that. Forced to remove your advertising. Price of admission is taking the advertising from the vendor to be on their platform, and it's going to cause you to lose money.
This could get even more complicated, though. There's a possibility that your host provider could provide all that for you for those platforms. I'm just throwing it out there.
Oh. So in other words, me as Blueberry, I negotiate the deal with platform A, and well, Rob. So that means that you're going to have a 3-way split. I'm going to split with the podcaster, and I'm going to split with the distribution platform.
Right. I'm just throwing it out there as a possible option, right?
If I keep the $25 CPM and I have to take less compensation as a host, that's a very viable alternative.
Yeah, there's some advantages to the podcaster. They are on a platform where they have some level of they maintain some level of control,
right?
Versus having that get turned over to another platform. Now, granted, that distribution platform, that we're talking about here, could do the ad sales for that, right? They could funnel that into the tools that are available from your host.
Yeah, right. That's all kinds of interesting.
That revenue could be split between the 3 parties involved. Yeah. But then, the downside about that is then does that mean that the podcaster makes less? Well,
not if you take it out of hide or I take it out of hide. I do deals all the time where someone brings me a deal, and the podcaster still gets paid in full, and I just make less commission. Right. Because I split it.
Well, I mean, if you as a host platform don't really have to do any work other than spinning up your servers to do dynamic insertion of the spot.
Right.
However the spot is produced, then it's just a resource issue.
Right. And not only that, then it's just that's a moneymaker. To me, that is just, that's like printing cash, if that's the case.
Plus, then things start to scale. And I think that's the opportunity that we all need to figure out is how do we how do we make advertising and podcasts, friendly to the listener, but also scale?
Yeah. The key is friendly to the listener.
Right. Exactly. Because up to this point, I'm getting the impression in the industry that while host reads are great and baked in ads are great,
they hate them.
They are just not going to scale for us to the ambitions that many have for this medium to get over $1 billion.
Well, but at the same point, podcasters are going to have to accept less on CPMs.
Yeah,
you can't.
Somehow we've got to get CPMs up higher because of the value.
Yeah, so. Yeah. Good luck holding the line on that.
I know. Well, I don't know whose job that is, but it's something that we need to focus on trying to figure out. Yeah. And I'm definitely seeing some upward movement around CPMs right now. So, which is a good sign.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hope that it's sustainable. I don't know if it's moving up because of the value of money is going down, or inflation or whatever.
Yeah.
Or is it because advertisers are perceiving that there's greater value in podcast advertising as opposed to alternatives?
We know there is.
I know, but it's the perception of the advertisers. This is all
Yeah.
is what I'm focused on, right?
So, some interesting scenarios there, and I guess everyone else that's listening can become speculative and replace company with example A with company du jour.
Right. These are concepts that that we need to put out there as alternatives that are either being discussed or people are working on, or do we want them or not? Right.
Or ideas to hold the line.
Right.
You stuck it out there, Rob.
I did stick it out there. Todd's going, that wasn't the plan today. No.
Wow. Okay, so before we both get fired,
Todd, you can't get fired.
Oh, I can be removed as the CEO. Absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, we're just keeping our reputations intact, right?
I told someone the other day, it was on a Facebook page, someone had linked to something that some new folks in the space had recorded and said, listen to this. And I'm like, it was a little irritated. I said, and I put it in the Facebook, if you want the truth, you go listen to this show.
You can't handle the truth. No, just kidding.
Well, in some instances, people can't.
I know, or they don't.
All right.
Yeah.
But I think the space is really healthy right now. I'm excited about where it's going, and in the the interest, and my phone continues to ring off the hook from people that are sitting on literally piles of cash. When I first said, we've got a $6.7 billion fund to pull from, and our benefactors are, list 25 different. Did you know? Hey, I've learned something about talking to bankers and M&A folks and VCs. You know where colleges are putting a ton of money? Tons. California colleges must be rich. They're putting millions and millions of dollars in funds, in startup funds. And I'm thinking to myself, does the public know? Does the public know how much money colleges are putting? I mean, literally, I'm like, huh? Harvard? Yale? They're a backer of your fund? Isn't their job to educate? And no wonder tuition's so high in this country.
It's to fund their funds.
It's to fund their funds.
Right, so they can make investments and then make bigger returns on their
and making investments on businesses that sometime will go kaput.
Right. Most of them do, actually.
Yeah, and I'm just I had no idea. Had no idea. It was just kind of as I've heard it over multiple calls. I'm like, oh yeah, we've got this college and this person and this and that. These are our our funders and our guidelines and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, wow. And yet students are paying $60,000 a year to go to college, and something fundamentally wrong with that, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah. They should be focused on education.
Right. And I don't think the general public just knows. I think they have no idea. I don't think colleges have to. I don't know if they have to disclose that. If they're a private university, probably they don't have to.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're a private enterprise at that point.
They are a business.
But Todd, this whole topic of CPMs is,
right.
what do we need to do as an industry to get those CPMs up? I think. Well, I would love to have that be a topic at Podcast Movement.
Well, we start with a few bad actors.
Right. We start with them? What do you mean?
We start with them and make them toe the line on.
Oh, you mean kind of
measurement.
Change some business practices that are going on?
Yes. Toe the line. Get on board. I've been out here. Please get your certification, Rob. Get it done. And same with Libsyn. Hurry up. I'm out here taking machine gun bullets to my vest. I'm serious.
Todd, we're enjoying the movie of you taking all the bullets.
Because I need some more. I need some more people on the front line.
Right.
Oh my God. It is crazy.
Well, I think it's coming. So I think that there's another group coming through. That's
because we get 5-6 of us that are certified, then we can say.
Then we can start pounding some
Pounding.
Heads. Right.
Now they're just looking at me sideways. They're like, winning friends and influencing people on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah, Todd, you're compliant.
Don't even go there. Yeah, it's true. No, our hosting provider's compliant.
Right.
Yeah. You'll be compliant too, Rob.
I know.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm all about compliance.
Mm-hmm. So it's again, I'm educating and taking bullets. So
right. Yep.
And,
incoming.
Oh, we do incoming on them, and they say force field. Put it up, and it just the grenade bounces off, and we don't have a problem. We're good.
We're good. That's right.
We're good.
We're certified. But
we're compliant. We're good. We're good. You would not believe how many times I've had it. We're good. We're good. We're good as they're looking at their tech person, raising the eyebrow. We're good, right? And of course, they don't add the words, "aren't we?"
Yeah.
So,
right. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know when the next batch is coming through, but I would think in the next few weeks.
Well, based on what Rob told me, where they were in the data analysis phase, they could be another month or two.
Oh, really?
The data analysis phase is close to the end, but it's painful. That's where that's where you're doing. You basically went through all the audits, and they then have collected. You provided them a significant log file sample, and then you give them your answers, and then they look at that, make sure it matches. Make sure that the math is right. They say, yeah, okay, the code does this, and the answers say this, and we run this through our system, and it says X.
Does it match?
It doesn't match, right? So the data analysis piece is, and then they're going to come back with 25 questions, but I think there's, based on everything I'm privy to, I think there's some pain points coming for some people.
Yeah.
I think we're about to have a group that may see some adjustment on their download numbers.
You're talking about those that are not currently certified,
right?
So, right. I agree with that.
I think there's going to be some, as I like to put it, some butt pain.
Well, because NPR and your platform being certified is really, especially your platform is somewhat a little bit more of the same, right? Of what we've been going through the last few years until more platforms get on board,
right?
Because your platform has always been kind of a leader in this, and so you're basically in that same position right now that you've been in for a long time until a lot of the other companies come on board. Then it becomes really a standard at that point.
Right.
Because right now I'm not sure that it's really a standard because there's only 2 companies or 2 entities supporting it.
Yeah.
So.
And as Mike Dell just said in the chat, then we can have the ugly baby talk with podcasters.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And there are some ugly babies out there.
Yeah.
So it's just they're not obvious right now to people because there's not enough of a momentum behind the certification process yet.
Yeah. So, I think some people it's going to be pretty much no change. And there will be on some others, there's going to be some adjustment. And some others, there's going to be some OSHIT moments. So
right, some of them have not decided to take the haircut early.
All right.
I think that's what I keep talking to people about is that the sooner you take the haircut, the less painful this is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
The longer you push it off, the more painful it's going to be. I believe.
So what happens when someone takes the haircut and gets a nice skin high with a number 5 on top? What happens when
well, we've all been through it, but some haven't.
Yeah, but what happens when that happens to them and all of a sudden the media buyers come back and say, "Hey, our performance is the same, but the cost is less."
Right. How does that work?
Do you owe us some money?
Right. How does that work?
Can we get an audit for the last year? Oh, can you write me that $14.2 million check back, please?
Right. I mean, from a VoxNest perspective, we got our numbers in order before we really jumped into the advertising business. So that's one advantage to us. Others have been in the advertising business for a long time and have been living off of, let's just say, not accurate numbers.
So what happens then to the person that was already taking low CPMs that have been over-reporting,
right?
And they take the haircut, and then the folks go back and say, "Well, your stuff you could have a detrimental effect to some companies."
Right.
So, is it going to happen? I don't know. If there was more direct advertisers versus DR, the DR folks have already adjusted CPMs on a vendor-by-vendor basis. So...
Right. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be embarrassing to some, I think, for a while. But we'll see.
Yeah. But times are changing. And I'm looking forward to having more soldiers on the front line here.
Mm-hmm. They're coming.
Because the
reinforcements are coming.
Yes. And for those of you who are listening, and be very honest with you, we're having interesting discussions with the right players who think that a simple compliance is enough. Or someone saying they have compliance is enough.
Right.
Without having to, go through the forensic audit and the, 5-month deep dive. Where are we at? We're at April. Well, late April. You guys been at this how long? January?
Probably pushing 5 months, yeah.
Yeah. So do you not think in hey Rob, just 5 months, you think they had a thorough look?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel a little bit, you know,
I had someone.
There was a bit of pain there.
I had one person tell me. I can't say his name. I can't say who it was, but I went to an after hours event, and he says this whole beep 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 is a bunch of beep 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 beep, and I'm like, why? Why you say that? He says it's not the cost, it's the time, and I'm just like, oh, you didn't listen to the new show.
Yeah.
And so, but there's been a lot of move of talent, a lot of people moving out of, moving around. I think there could be a couple companies that are actually in trouble.
Todd, are you sensing a little bit of increasing pain in shows moving platforms?
No, because I've got the best guy in the world that is expert in migrating anyone from any platform. So for our side, no. But
no, I'm just thinking of it from not so much from the host side, but from the distribution side, from the complications that are starting to pop up around. So let's say show A moves from host B to host C.
Sure.
They've got themselves in all of these, all of the new up and coming listening platforms.
Oh, yeah.
And some of these platforms don't support 301s on the redirect side. Some of them you have to notify individually to get things to work right or update cover art, descriptions. Those things are still happening in the space.
This is a violin that I'm playing here.
I know. All right.
Because for 15 years, I've said, control your feed.
Well, it's not even that, Todd. It's these other platforms that are not parsing the data to pick up changes, or they're not changing the RSS feed based on a 301 redirect. They're requiring manual notification and take this feed now and change it out in your system.
Right. Well, it's an issue, but if you control your master feed, you don't have to worry about where you host your media. My RSS feed has not changed in 14 years and 8 months.
Well, no, yours hasn't, but I'm saying these other listening platforms, these bigger ones that are not doing what the right thing to do is with RSS feeds.
Well, again, It starts from the source. If you have a base RSS feed that you own and control, when you submit it, you don't have to ever worry about those platforms because the changes you make are carried through.
Hopefully they get picked up.
Right.
That's the problem.
Right.
That's the problem.
Well, I don't see any. Well, if they're caching RSS feeds, well, that's an issue. I don't know. I haven't run into that on our side.
Okay.
Now there is for example, on Spotify, I do have to delist a show.
Right.
If they move to another platform.
Right.
There's nothing I can do about that. That's the way their system works.
I know, exactly. And that's part of what I'm saying here.
Yeah.
Is that there's still a lot of loose ends around seamlessly doing this stuff.
Yeah.
It causes labor and effort that seems silly at this.
Well, it's because some of these platforms are not podcasting platforms, and they've squeegeed it in and tried to figure it out. So, we're long here, Rob. Even with our crash.
Right. Okay.
So
we should move on.
Yeah. So I think if you're available, I don't know if you're available, would you be able to do a show on Thursday?
Are you thinking like an audio only show?
Yeah, I might be able to come in. Well, I'll have no way to do video, but
okay.
And I don't know what time we can talk offline, but I'm definitely not available past Thursday. And matter of fact, past Thursday mid-afternoon, it's going to be rough. So. Okay.
Well, let's plan on doing something on Thursday then.
Okay, and then the following week we'll have to figure that out too on what we do.
Okay. And let's just plan on streaming it live on Spreaker or something.
Yeah, and then maybe we'll just not do as long of a show. Maybe do a shorter show on Thursday. because it will have less
Do like
time
an
in
hour
between.
or something.
Yeah.
You do like an hour. Okay.
Because people get mad when we're not feeding the beast. We're starting to get emails complaining when people say, "How come you're missing the show?"
Right.
So,
yeah.
And today I have to do editing. This is the first time I ever had to edit the show.
Oh, Todd, my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
It's shocking, actually.
It is shocking. So just splicing 2 video files together. So that's really problematic.
Yes, it is.
All right, everyone. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of our little family. And when you come over to newmediashow.com, click on the little subscribe button. Tell your friends, fellow podcasters about the show. And this is, again, I've always said that if you go back and listen to episode 1 through whatever, what are we at, 240 or whatever the number is today, 242, you can get a PhD in podcasting by listening to the show. If nothing else, know all the dirt that's going on in space. And where all the dead bodies are buried. So
well, and you know, big changes that I think that are coming to the medium too.
Yeah.
We talk about. So anyway,
so thanks for being here. Todd at blueberry.com. At Geek News is my Twitter account.
Rob at robgreenlee.com is great to use, as well as Rob at Spreaker.com, and I can be found on Twitter at Rob Greenlee. It's a great place to reach out to me, and then. Go visit my new Facebook group called Better Podcast Ads. Contribute your experience and your thoughts around what we should do as an industry around creating better ad copy so we can grow this medium.
And please be patient with us as we head through the early summer, because this chaos is all caused by me uprooting and leaving Hawaii. So,
Right.
But don't worry, it's going to be fun because we'll be doing the show from different locations in the future with video. It'll be fun. I'll be in a different studio every week, maybe.
Right.
So, everyone, thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of our family again. Everyone, take care. We'll see you next time.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.